We are rolling. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Twin Talks Ballet. This is my beautiful guest, Elizabeth Sterling. And guess what? Today we are finally going to speak to you late starters out there in ballet, because I personally get so many questions. Over the 10 years I've been on YouTube, people have been asking me, can I start ballet at 16 and be a professional? Can I start at 19 and be a professional? I've had people say, I'm 12 and I'm starting late. I'm like, that is not that late. So I really wanted to bring Elizabeth onto the channel today because she did start ballet later in her teen years and did achieve success in her training and her professional career. And I just felt that there was no one I would rather bring on than Elizabeth. So welcome, Elizabeth. Thank you so much for being here. And I should probably tell people a little bit more about you. You are the creator of The Whole Point on Instagram and then also on YouTube. You have a fabulous YouTube channel. And guys, she provides the technique tips and practical instruction that you're not going to really find on my channel. So go over to Elizabeth's channel. And she also talks a lot about mindset and supporting many other late starters in their journey, as well as adult dancers. So go check her out on Instagram and YouTube. I'll have her links down below. Did I do a good job? Did I introduce you well?
Fantastic. That was amazing. Thank you so much. I was going to say, this is like Kristen and I vibe so much because I am all about the mindset work that you're doing.
Thank you.
Just all about it. Sending all
praise hands. Okay, let's get into the questions, the good, juicy stuff that the people want to know. So I'm going to consult my iPhone here because I have them written out. Hey there. I just want to briefly pause this video to ask you if you are a creature of habit like most dancers are. Buying those same old tights that you may think are fine, but they maybe give you elephant knees. They constantly rip at the crotch. They are constantly fading very quickly. They are not comfortable. They get saggy. Not nice. Well, let me just ask you to step out of that comfort zone a little bit and become a little less of a creature of habit and urge you to try Zerily Tights, which is what is sold on balletok.com, the generous sponsor of today's video and many of my other videos. I'm very grateful for their ongoing support, which keeps Twin Talks Ballet going and the messages I share to encourage dancers going out into the world. So I would love to urge you to try Zerily Tights if you haven't yet, because hey, if comfortable tights are available that also do the work of adding that compression to your legs, which is comfortable, it's gentle, but just enough to keep your legs feeling better longer in the studio. That compression eases the inflammation and slows it from building up so quickly. And then also you get to recover faster between workouts and days in the studio, which what dancer doesn't want that? So you get comfortable tights that have that compression slimming and smoothing everything out, and also doing the work to help you be a better athlete. I love Zerily Tights, can't say enough good things about them, and I would love for you to use my coupon code down below to get $10 off your next order on balletok.com. Support the sponsor that generously supports these videos, and we can all keep Twin Talks Ballet going, and you will thank me for ditching your old tights. Speaking of ditching your old tights, once you have loved the heck out of your Zerily Tights or any other brand, you can also use balletok.com's recycling program specifically for tights. I love this concept. To learn more about it and how you can turn your tights in to get a discount on your next order of tights from balletok.com, just visit their website. It's all linked down below, and again, use my coupon code on your next order. So thank you again, balletok.com, and let's continue with the video. First, what inspired you to take ballet seriously after you started?
Okay, so I started when I was 14, and it was just for fun. My best friend and I were actually doing worship dances at our church, and the leader of the worship dance program was just starting ballet as an adult, and she encouraged us to come take class just to get into the movement, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I started only taking one class a week, and they put us in right with all the other teenagers. So it's very interesting. Um, but just the more that I danced, I just really fell in love with how dancing made me feel and started upping my classes. But I really didn't think that being a professional was on the table. But it just started with like little goals of taking more classes, getting on point, getting a performance. And then I started to get feedback from teachers that I had potential. But I still really, I don't think I thought that I had a chance until I was 17.
Wow. Okay. And so then at that time, what caused you to really think, okay, I have a chance and I'm going to make this work because I have the opportunity?
Right. Well, so back when I was training, there was not social media, but there was dance.net. So I don't know if anyone out there is familiar
Dance.
with dance.net, but I was obsessed and I spent all my time on there. And I just remember reading about Misty Copeland. And at the time, she wasn't like the superstar that she is today.
Yeah.
But there was just this article about this girl who started at 13 and was with the quarter ballet at ABT. And I was like, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
just
that's
ignited
exciting.
that little spark of like, it's possible.
Yeah.
And so I would just say, like, I just started to really immerse myself in ballet and just my biggest dream for the longest time was just to keep it part of my life after I graduated high school. So I was hoping to like maybe go to college, maybe work backstage, like anything. I was so in love with ballet. I just wanted to keep it in my life.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah.
love that answer because it shows to me that even though you're a teenager, I'm sure you had things going on in your mind that weren't easy. And I'm sure your journey wasn't all that easy, but I love that your story does show the power of passion and also just appreciating your journey for what it is on a certain level and not necessarily jumping to the conclusion that, oh, I love ballet. Therefore, the only way to be happy doing it is to be a professional dancer. Because I do think that creates a desperation that is not only unhealthy, it's just unproductive. So
Right. And
how
I
did
think,
you then? Oh, no, you say what you're
no,
going to say. Then I'm going to ask you.
good. No, I was just going to say, I think it's so important to keep the love of ballet at the forefront, for your training, no
Yeah,
matter what it is that you're pursuing. So,
absolutely. Because there's not really usually another reason to be doing it.
right, right.
So, wise words right there. So then what did cause you to go from that idea that, man, if I just do this after high school, I will be happy, to then actually pursuing it professionally?
Well, like I said, I had some really encouraging teachers right at the start. We had a guest teacher come in like super early on when I didn't know anything. And after class, he talked to me and my parents and compared me to a Steinway, which I know, right?
Oh, she classy.
Which was so funny because I had no
That's
idea
so
what that
funny.
was at
Yeah.
14. And then my parents were like, it's a really nice piano.
Yeah.
But but that along with like just some other teachers' encouragement, um, it really helped me to think that if I trained and really stuck to it, that I could, progress. But I
Yeah.
still would say that I didn't think that I was going to be a professional until I was 17, because so I started when I was 14 and they put us with all the other teenagers. And I did progress in that school some, but it was very overwhelming,
Yeah.
to jump in at that point. And so I started homeschooling again. I had homeschooled when I was younger, and then I was going to regular school when I started, and I decided to pull out so that I could really focus on training. And so I started taking a homeschool ballet class that segued into me changing studios. And when I changed studios, they put me with the babies, like the 8 and 9-year-olds. And I was like, 15, 16 at this point.
Ouch,
So
man.
yeah, that was really difficult, but it was so important to have that foundation laid.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
My cat is definitely about to join our video. But wow, I'm sure that was not an easy thing for the ego, to
Right.
be put so, what probably felt like a step backwards or many
It
steps
was a
backwards.
huge step backward. Yeah, because they took me off of point. I had been on point already.
Oh,
And I had been with the older girls at the first studio. So to start with like really young kids was a huge ego hit. And that was one of the biggest challenges, I think, is letting go of the ego and getting over the fact that I was like the oldest person in the room a lot of places that I went at my level.
yeah.
I specifically have a memory of facing the bar, trying to balance when all of like the older girls would come in for their class, and they're younger than me. Like they were the cool older girls, but they were younger than me.
Mm,
And being like, oh, I just want to be there.
yeah.
But I think that's so important for anyone starting late to just kind of check the ego, because whenever you start anything new, right, you have to be a beginner. You have to be willing to unlearn things too,
Yes.
to be able to progress.
Yes, absolutely. What you just described reminds me of this learning curve that I saw. It was like this graphic someone created where they had funny names for the peaks and the valleys. So you start your journey and you're like, oh, this is exciting. And then you get to the point where you start learning more and you get to the peak of Mount Stupid, which is where you're like, wow, I know so much. And look at me. I'm progressing so fast. What an expert. What a boss. And then you're like, maybe you get put in that environment where someone older and wiser is like, you know what, this is going to be hard, but I'm going to take you a step backwards, or let's work on the fundamentals, or like you meet someone else who knows a lot more than you and you previously hadn't been exposed to someone of that expertise. And then you plummet down to this depth of like, I know absolutely nothing. And there's like a huge hit to your pride that happens. But here's the thing, then you slowly go upwards again. And usually what it has been noted in studies is that experts, people who are legitimately the very best in their field, they estimate that they're only at about the 70th percentile of expertise in their field, even though they might be at the 95th. Whereas people who aren't that experienced, they're like, oh, I'm top 5%,
I know it all, yeah.
I'm a pro. Forgive me if you could hear my cats. It's their dinner time. They're gonna stop talking just in a moment. But anyway, so how did you overcome that challenge of taking the baby classes and eventually work your way up to Joffrey? Because that's where you danced first. Is that correct?
That was my first professional experience. So it was a big journey of starting kind of over, and it was very humbling because all of the little 8, 9, 10-year-olds were way better than me, like way better than me. And but again, because I had started homeschooling, we were just there all of the time. I took homeschool class during the day, and then I would take regular class at night. And then when I was like, I think I was like 17, so I progressed through the levels there. I don't think I ever got to the highest level there, but I took an open class. I was terrified, like an open adult intermediate class. I still remember how terrified I was. After class, I had a woman approach me named Patty Eiler, who actually became my mentor. And she just invited me to come take these smaller classes with her. And she ended up being this amazing mentor and light in my ballet life. I ended up moving to downtown Chicago to live with her. And so I would take open classes in the morning, and then I would go train with her at night. And so having someone like her, the place that had started me from the beginning was really crucial to set the foundation, but they were also very competitive and very cutthroat ballet, if you know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying.
And when I started working with Patty at the same time I was there, and I could do triples in her classes.
Yeah.
And I could like barely do a clean double in their classes. And I realized that I had to get out of that environment.
Yeah.
So I think leaving there, even though they really gave me a great foundation, and being with somebody who was so dedicated to my success was such a huge gift, and what really helped me get to the level where I got a contract with Joffrey.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. And you know what?
Yeah.
It's like this mentor of yours kind of had the role of a coach, which is so important. And people underestimate the power of having someone that you respect believing in you and holding out that belief for you and supporting you in the days where you don't believe in yourself. That is so life-changing, so simple, but truly transformational. And the themes I'm hearing in your story so far are the importance of just showing up and just following the love of what you're doing and not expecting too much out of it, but being consistent, and just putting forth the effort really and living out your passion, but then also being willing to be humble so that you can stick through the unglamorous parts of the journey. Because if you were to hold on to your ego and your pride, and then to also have these very inflated expectations that I need to be a professional, you probably would not have stuck it through, or maybe you would have, but you might have been miserable. And also when you're talking about the contrast of like not being able to do the doubles and then doing the triples, that shows the power of confidence as well, and the role of mindset in what you end up being able to do.
Right. And I think, yes, that having a coach is so huge. Just to be able to have someone that you know cares about you, that you can talk to, because there are so many mental stresses in the ballet world, and especially on the journey to getting to a professional level, that never underestimate the power of talking about it. You know, there's just, and I think also journaling about it can be really helpful too. That is something that I'm really passionate about. I talk about a lot on my channel because I started a journal from day one. And I think that process of really just fully immersing yourself in the process of learning a completely new thing, you know, to be able to work out your thoughts and then to be able to talk to people is really helpful.
Totally. And you did have people along the way who believed in you and who were nice enough to point it out, because I think so many of us humans, well, it's kind of just inspiring me to say nice things to people when I see a reason to encourage somebody, because your teachers could have been like, good job, you know, when you're doing something well, but not pull you aside and be like, hey, I think you can do this. And so I think for people watching, I mean, I empathize with being that dancer who wanted to be talked to. I had friends that were pulled aside and told, like, I think you can be a professional. And I was almost never told that. Yet I ended up making it and they didn't, which was ironic. Maybe it was that hunger in me and they were like, oh, you know what? I think I got it made. But, you know, even for anyone watching who isn't getting pulled aside and told, hey, you have potential, seek out mentorship and ask people questions and build relationships with people who know more than you and who can at least tell you how things work, even if they're not like super invested in your success and they're going to like have you live with them and, you know, do all these things. But that's obviously a huge influence for you.
That was, she really, I mean, she became like, you know, a second mother in a way. So I appreciate her so much for everything that she did for me.
That is so awesome. And, sorry, I'm looking down, but I'm also like feeling how amazing that is. So once you got to Joffrey though, and you did get the contract, first, what position did you start in? I'm imagining they didn't have like trainee and whatever back then.
No. I didn't ever even have, it was just a seasonal position for their production of Giselle. But the funniest thing is that it was very unexpected because I didn't audition for it. I went to their summer intensive. And I still remember getting the call. I was like at a Panera Bread with my church friends, and I like went out to the parking lot, and I think I ended up like on the concrete on the on the floor. Like, oh, I can't believe it.
Oh, and then I can't get up.
I like it. It still will always be. That was like the dream come true moment that I didn't even know to want, because I didn't even know it was on the table.
Yeah.
So, but it was a seasonal thing, and it was just for Giselle, and it was a huge learning curve to go from training to being a professional, which I'm sure you know. I'd say just on the most basic physical level, to go from doing like point class and variations class to taking every ballet class on point, followed by hours of rehearsal on point. I had not ever done that much jumping in point shoes or just any of it,
Right.
But that was like a huge struggle, trying to catch up in the point work, because I had just never had that much point work, and everything is different in point shoes.
Yes. That is something people don't consider. Like,
No,
also,
big jump.
it hurts. And so
Right.
if you love dancing, that's awesome. You can dance. You don't have to dance somewhere where you will also be in point shoes 6 hours a day.
I 100%
Because at that
agree.
point, it does impact your quality of life. If first, your body isn't made for that. Second, if you're just not willing to do it, because
Right.
it's hard.
Right. Point is a different level. And I actually will say that I am one of those dancers who has learned that point is not my favorite thing. So
And that's okay.
even though, like, everyone says, oh, your view's so pretty, and I love point for certain things. Yeah, you just have to realize that workload. So that was a big shift. And then mentally, I really struggled with imposter syndrome, because these were the stars that I had seen. If I had seen any ballet, it was these people, right? They were like, woo, woo. And then all of a sudden, I'm in class with them. I'm in their dressing room, and I was like, I don't belong here. I don't belong here.
Yeah.
And so I really struggled with finding a place. Sometimes when you go into a company, there were some nice people, but it wasn't like, hey, yeah, welcome to the family. You really have to be prepared to hold your own. And I definitely struggled with having the confidence to like jump in when someone was missing, or go to the front of the room, or all of those things. So I think that was a huge challenge, was just feeling like, oh, I shouldn't be here.
And so many dancers relate to that, myself included, honestly. And if I could go back, I know it's like not popular to have regrets, but to me, it's nice to be able to look back and then to tell other dancers honestly, hey, if I could, I would do this. Now, do I live my life like I didn't jump in and I should have? No, like I go on about my life. I'm a happy girl. It's fine. But I would tell anybody else, like, work on that confidence, because I think as dancers, we fixate so much on the technique and how we look, and we think those things get us the job, the part, the happiness. But honestly, it's the girl that has the confidence to raise her hand and be like, I haven't even understudied that part, but I'm going to jump in. That's usually the girl that gets the contract too, because it's such a move, and directors notice. They want an employee like that. And so that's a big thing. Work on your confidence, people. I mean, that's my opinion.
No, I agree completely. I also am of that same place where, I definitely have regrets about how I did things, but I channel that into telling all of my students, like any of the teens who I taught in Austin have heard me say, go to the front of the room.
Yes.
Go, like, because there's also, I think, at least from my own perspective, there was a little bit of like, I have to be invited. I have to be, I have to be invited. I have to be kind and polite. And I'm like, listen, this is about dancing. Like, you have to be seen for people to even know that you're there.
That is so good.
I think it is so important for all dancers really to just work on having the confidence to be flexible and make mistakes and not be so worried about what other people are thinking and whether they think you have the right. Just do it.
That is so good. Oh, that's a word. Yeah, don't wait to be invited, because I
Right.
ultimately really do believe that in any area of life where you want to step into the next level, I know that's like very personal development sounding. It is. We're owning it. If you
Yeah.
want to, for instance, more specifically, get a part, or
Mm,
if you are an apprentice and you want to be in the court of ballet, dress like you're in the court of ballet, act like you're in the court of ballet, become friends with all the girls in the court of ballet. You step into class every day. Like, why haven't they even made you a soloist yet? Like, don't be
right.
arrogant, but
Right.
embody what you want
Yeah,
next. I
right.
really believe that, because no one's like necessarily going to pull you up. Now, I won't say no one, it happens. But then a lot of dancers who do get like plucked out and they seem to be lucky, and someone invites them into just quick success, they
Mhm.
struggle with imposter syndrome.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
it's something that no matter if you get invited or not, you're going to have to work on yourself
Right.
and
Have to do the
how ready
introvert.
you are for it. So I'm so glad you brought that up.
100%. You have to do the introvert.
What do you think a dancer who started later needs to know, or no, sorry, what do they need to do or have in order to advance to the professional level?
Right. And this is a question I get a lot too. And I think a lot of people will point to my feet and legs and be like, that's it. That's what you have to have. And there's definitely a component of that, of having a body that works with ballet and having access to good training. There's
Yeah.
definitely a huge. But I really think, like we were just talking about, that your brain is your biggest advantage, your mindset,
Hmm.
your willingness to learn,
Yeah.
to immerse yourself in the process of learning, and just really embrace doing the same thing over and over again and finding all of the places that you can tweak it,
Yeah.
because if you want to become professional, you are going to have to get to that minutia that we don't always get to. And so you have to really work on diving into that internal work, like what we were talking
Yeah.
about staying focused, working hard, and just completely embodying the movement.
I agree. And the mindset is so important, even though both of us are realistic about the fact that your body has to be able to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so you have to be able to do all of the basic movements. You have to be able to turn. You don't have to be an absolute world-class superstar in order to be some kind of a professional, whether that's in a regional company, a small company, freelancing. Like, there's so many different ways to do this
Right. Yeah.
professionally. So I also like to remind people of that, to take the pressure off. Like, maybe you are, very few people are meant for like the big stages. And even so, a
Yeah.
lot of the people in those companies are actually quite miserable, because it's a very, very, very hard lifestyle, as glamorous as it looks. So, like, I like to just say that so people feel more welcome to explore the path that is best for them. Not to
To
say
take
you can't have
care of.
joy there.
Right. No, right. And I always, when I tell like random people and I'm talking to them about my story, I always say that I'm so grateful that the Lord allowed me to experience my dream
Yes.
so that I could realize that it wasn't actually what I wanted. You know,
Yeah.
I think we can get in
Same,
training.
actually.
Really? Yeah.
I mean, I did want it and it was a blessing, but
Well, and yeah, and I'm really appreciative for the experience. But in experiencing it, I realized that it wasn't what I had made it to be in my mind. And I also realized that with my personality, there was a lot of things that were super draining to me.
mm,
And so I'm so appreciative for the time that I got to dance professionally, but that I'm also so appreciative for the professional experiences that I've had that were just like the best, and yet nobody would care about those, right?
yeah,
Because they don't have a certain name attached to them or
so
whatever.
true. So true. Yeah, there's a lot of wisdom there. So it sounds like for people who are watching that are tempted to ask that question, like, can I be a professional? Because you and I get those questions a lot. That's why we're making this video. And you guys, we just have to say, those are honestly, you can't just ask those questions because first off, it does not matter if you started at 6 months old. If you came out of the womb in a grand jeté, doesn't matter. If I could actually watch someone dance and still not know if they're going to make it professionally because life is life. It's very unpredictable. Sometimes
Yes.
it's just you're in the right place at the right time. You get a contract. Now,
Is
I also need to be able to see someone dance to assess if they have the potential to do it. And so when you and I get comments online where we don't know who you are, we can't see you dance, and you're saying just very basic things like, I have my point shoes, if that. Usually it's just, hey, I'm 16. I want to be a
Right.
professional. Can we do it? I don't know. I really think all things are possible, but we can't really answer that question for you. So in this video, I think that we've dropped some good pieces of information for hopefully anyone who's watching to assess, do I have these things going for me? One thing that would be great to talk about a little bit more is the kind of training that is good to have in order to set yourself up for a professional career. So what was it for you in your training that you think allowed you to get to that level of professional?
Well, I think, like I said, coming to that school, starting from the beginning was really huge. To get someone who is knowledgeable, you can, luckily we have the internet now, so we can really kind of see what does good ballet look like, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And then you can kind of compare that to the training you're receiving to see if you're receiving quality training. I think that's really important.
Yeah.
So to make sure you're receiving that quality training, and then to make sure that you set that foundation, because for someone who started later, I actually think there can be a lot of advantages because we're coming in as blank slates. We don't have movement patterns already set, and our brains are slightly, more advanced than, say, a young child. And so we can really assimilate the information differently, and we can really focus and control our body a little bit better. And so I think that if you have a quality instruction and then you are really not rushing it, but really setting that foundation, as hard as it is to not, do those pirouettes right away, to not get those point shoes right away and do all the fun things, the work is at the bar, and all the professional dancers do that. So, I even find now, as I'm coming back to dancing again after my third baby and as a teacher, what I work on the most is pliés, relevés, and tendus. There is so much there. And so I think setting that foundation, and then, like you said, I think it's really important to get personal coaching, right? And so you can get somebody who can really focus on you, because in dance classes, it depends on the size of the class. It depends on the teacher. But to get that one-on-one feedback, it can really improve your technique quicker.
Yeah, absolutely. So it sounds like private lessons are a great idea, or at least getting a lot of personalized, individual attention, really. And then also having mentors, people who have gotten to a certain level in their career that you would aspire to have on some level, having their advice and their input, just, I guess, on a more intellectual kind of advice level of things is really great. And then there's also the mindset coaching aspect, which is kind of a new thing, but so necessary. And that's part of the coaching we're also talking about, of making sure that you're working with someone, whether it is a therapist, a counselor, a mindset coach, someone who can resolve those inner blocks with you, the imposter syndrome, anything that blocks you from stepping into the confidence you need to really put yourself out there and really do your best. So I'd say like all those three different types of support, including then the fourth is like obviously group classes, which you're going to do anyway. That's important. And it sounds like it was really beneficial for you to go from being kind of the worst in a room of people who are a lot more advanced than you. So you get to kind of, I don't know, step up to their level, but then also to be the best in a room is
Yeah,
a balance
yeah.
too.
It is such an interesting experience, yeah, because when I started training with Patty, because I was older, and the type of school that she taught at wasn't all about everybody having a contract and being professional like the school that I came from. It was more about the love of ballet and how ballet is for everyone.
Yeah.
And so I actually was, at the top of that class, but then I was taking open classes in the morning where I was at the bottom of that class.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting experience, and I think it is important to keep in mind what you were saying about how there's so many variables, and as long as you are just pursuing ballet for the love of it and staying open to receiving feedback and integrating that in, I think that you can actually progress much quicker if you're working with your body rather than working against it. And that's again where that mindset key comes in. I always tell my students now, like, it doesn't matter who believes in you and how important they are, right? There might be the artistic director of a company. He wants you, he believes in you. But if you don't believe in yourself, you're never going to reach that potential that you're really meant for.
Totally.
Because people can drag you along for only so long. and then at some point, that's why I really want to tell people, especially late starters, to focus on the love of it.
Yeah.
It's so important.
So good. I think we should probably wrap this up with just a little bit of another nugget of wisdom. There's already been so much, but what would you like to share in terms of advice or encouragement for maybe people who are in their mid, early, late teens and they're assessing like, hey, I want to start, or I want to take this more seriously, but I don't know if I can be a professional. What do you have to say to them?
So, okay, I have a couple of things. But first, I just want to say, I was thinking about, as we were talking, that question that gets asked so often. I'm this old and I want to start. Can I be a professional? I'm this old. Sometimes it's even just, can I start ballet? Yeah. And the answer to that question is always yes. Right? We have students who are starting, into their 70s. You can always dance. And I think what's really behind that question is a passion, a desire to pursue dance. And I think that should always be followed. Yeah. So I would say, one, really do the internal work of assessing what does success mean for you, right?
Yes.
Because we get so caught up in the starry-eyed idea of being a ballet dancer, especially with a certain company perhaps. And there's actually a lot that goes along with that. And so you just have to be really aware of everything that goes along with that, and if that's what you really want. Because we buy so easily into other people's definitions of success. But taking the time to define what you want, you can create it, you can make it happen. Yeah. And so I think as long as, like I keep saying, to keep the love, just don't lose that joy because once you lose it, like, what's the point? Ballet is not meant to be an altar that we sacrifice ourselves on. It is an art
Say it
form.
again.
Yeah, right. It's so true, and it's an art form that's meant to bring life and bring joy to yourself and to other people. So if you are willing to work hard, willing to check your ego, and just always be open to learning new information, and put yourself out there, and just sharing your passion from a place of love, I think that's always going to be valuable. I think there's always going to be a place for that, and it looks different for everyone. So just stay open, keep the love at the forefront.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. That's so good. And I also just felt an inspiration to speak to the people who have a desire to dance, but money is an issue. And I think especially right now, maybe someone's watching this a year from now, and prayerfully the coronavirus is irrelevant. Right now it's very relevant. And so there's I think financial scares are just on the forefront of a lot of people's minds. And so I'm thinking for people who cannot afford to take a lot of classes, or they can't afford to really dance in this season of their life, I do want to say that I know many dancers who have not been able to dance in their teenage years or in their early 20s while they're figuring out their life and their career. And then they are able to just fully express that love in their 30s and their 40s. My aunt is almost 60 years old and she dances on point, y'all, and she loves it.
I love it.
I
I
know.
love it.
Aunt Kelly, she is such a boss. So anyway, like sometimes I think we all have things that we want to do. And it's okay to kind of have that dream deferred a little bit. As hard as it is, like we're not all called to have all things going on in our life all the time that we want. Sometimes it's okay to want something and to just do it however you can. If that's one community class or a free class you could find a week or once a month, or just find other forms of dance that are affordable to you, whatever you can do. Take your time and be patient and be open to being able to do it at a later time in life. That's okay too. And people who are injured also experience that, that wanting to do something and not being able to do it. But that hope deferred, I know the hope deferred makes the heart sick, that phrase, but I keep thinking of hope deferred and how maybe a desire deferred can actually be a blessing because you have the space to grow in other areas of your life. So I know that we might get some comments about, I can't afford it, but I hope that encourages some people.
Right. And you might discover other things. Being open is so important, right? Because I definitely got caught up. And once I did get that contract, it was a seasonal contract. So I definitely got caught up in like, I have to keep this up. I have to do better, right? I have to get into the next thing. And that's something else. I know we're wrapping up. I just want to talk about really quick.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
The bar is always changing, right? When you first start doing something, you have this level and you're like, oh, if I could just get there, I would be happy. I would be satisfied. Right? And then you passed it and you passed another one and you passed another one and you're like, I suck at everything. Like I can't do anything. What is wrong with me? Right?
Yep.
And that is when, if you're feeling that way, it's so important to take a step back and look at everything that you have accomplished.
Yes.
And then reevaluate, because we can get so stuck in a certain trajectory that we're not even happy. We don't even really want that anymore, but we haven't taken the time to check in and see if that's true.
Yes, to be content is such a blessing.
And I just want to encourage people that when I first decided to take a step back from dancing professionally, I just couldn't even handle it anymore. And I was like, I'm such a failure, I know.
Right. I get
well,
it.
and I know a lot of people do, and they think, oh, I put this time in and the money in and the parents and whatever, whoever.
Yeah.
They've wasted it. It's all wasted. And I just want to encourage everyone that, again, like you said, no matter what age you are, no matter how long you've trained, taking ballet classes is never going to be a waste. Right?
It's really
if you can look at it as something that you are doing to enrich your life and enrich, sorry, that's my kid in the window. Oh, okay. It's like, what?
Brilliant.
Okay. But yeah, I am constantly inspired by my adult students, especially the beginning class where I'm introducing people to ballet. That's like the best part, right? Yes. People who are just like, you know what? Screw it. I don't care how old I am. I want to do it. I'm just going to learn. I'm going to become a beginner at, 50, 60 years old. That is inspiring to me.
Amen. That beginner's mind. I feel like that was popular for a while on the internet. People are talking about the beginner's mindset. I gotta look that up again. I mean, it's a good thing. Yeah. No, I don't remember exactly what it was about, but just like.
No, I remember that. It's kind of like approaching everything you do like with curiosity instead of, and that is, oh man, okay, you can edit this up if you want to.
I probably won't want to.
But I just want to say, because I have come back to ballet so many times, right?
Yeah.
So I left when I was like 21, and I came back pretty quickly there and started teaching. And then I did more performances after that. Then I've had 3 babies, and I have danced on stage pregnant with each one of them, and then taken time off, and then coming. I've had so many reintroductions to ballet. And sometimes there's late starters, and then sometimes there's people who come back to ballet at a later age. And that's almost a more tricky situation because we have stuck in our heads how things used to be, how they should be.
Yes.
And that's where that beginner's mind comes in. I'm always telling it's a brand new experience. Every class you take is a brand new experience. So if you can go in with curiosity and with being like, oh, this is how it feels to move my arm today in this body. Like,
Yeah.
I think that is huge because there is that feeling, especially if you've taken a break and then you're coming back of like, oh, well, what's the point? Like, I can't do it like I used to do it. Whatever. And I just think it's so important to be curious about the process and to really enjoy the moment. That's that whole being present and being like feeling your body move to the music, that's where the joy comes.
The simple things. Yes. So stay content, y'all. Stay consistent. I was gonna look for another C. I don't have one. So content and consistent. Yeah, take a class. 3 C's there. Well, thank you so much for just your wisdom, your positivity, your example, your stories. Oh man, I can't wait to share this. I really hope plenty of people are still hanging in until the end because there was some good stuff there. Now, I do want to invite you to share about your workshop idea.
So I have been making these random ballet tutorials for years now, and I really have had a desire to start working more closely with the people who watch my videos, and I am working on a weekend workshop for the weekend of, now I'm going to have to look. It's the last weekend in April, but let me just check. Okay, yes, it's the weekend of April 24th to the 26th.
Awesome.
So I want to work on a weekend kind of lock-in experience where we're specifically focused on turnout, because turnout is a building block fundamental of ballet, and yet there's still so much myths surrounding it. And I think especially for adult dancers, it can feel really mysterious. And so I just want to get together with a small group of people and really help them to unlock their turnout. And there's going to be a lot of mind stuff on there because a lot of your turnout is it starts.
Yeah, totally. So is this online? Is it available to anybody?
Right, it will be online. And so it's going to need to be a small group of people. So if people want to sign up for my email list, which I can give you the link for that, then I'll send out the information as we get closer. Yeah. And also, we just started this whole coronavirus thing. I'm actually going to be teaching a live class tonight. And I know that my studio is going virtual for the next couple weeks. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to be ramping up my amount of live classes. So if people sign up for my email list, they can get on all the information for that as well. And then, I'm really excited about it.
Good. Well, I'm going to have all your information down below. Classic YouTuber thing. It's going to be in the description box down below. Right? All the jargon. So yes, people can follow you on Instagram, on YouTube, on your email list. Yes. If anyone wants to know about what you're doing, they can find it. So thank you so much for sharing about that. I'm really excited for you to teach some people how to turn out, because that is really hard. And it is a mystery.
There's so many levels.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for this interview. I'm so grateful to be able to share again all your insights, and thank you. And thank you everyone for watching. If you've made it to this point, you're a saint. Share it with your friends, like it, comment, tell us what you want to tell us. I don't know. I should have a specific prompt like, comment something.
Uh,
Say what you want to say, as long as it's nice.
yeah, reach out, man. Just tell us what you're going through. We are here to support you.
Yeah, there we go. That's better. That's better than what I had to say. Well, all right. Bye, everyone. Thanks for watching.